State Fair campers. My name's Ariana.
And I'm Rebecca, and today we're in Cam's classroom.
The materials you're going to need for this activity are some carded wool and a spinning hook. To start, you're going to want to take your carded wool and take a pencil thickness piece from it. And by that, you can pull it just a little bit tight in order to see if it's about the width of a pencil. Once you have that width, you're going to pick up your spinning hook and take about a 1/2 inch piece and wrap it around the end of the spinning hook.
You'll want to make sure that when you put the wool on the hook, that your hook is in your non-dominant hand and your wool is in the dominant hand.
And from there, you're going to hold it nice and tight, but not pulling it too far apart, and begin spinning the hook. And as you spin the hook, you're going to be moving your hand away, and this is called drafting. And then if you come across any knots as you're spinning, just give it a little bit more of the unspun wool. Once you reach the end of your carded wool, now it's time to ply. You're either going to have a family member use their arm, or to practice socially distancing, you can use the arm of a chair. And what you'll do is from the middle of your strand, you're going to take it on the arm of the chair in order to meet the two ends together.
So now I'm going to demonstrate that. You'll want to put your string or your wool, you'll want to put your wool on the bottom of the chair and grab the top. From here, you can take the hook off of the wool, and then you'll remove it from the chair and it'll twist together.
This is called plying. Plying is when you take 2 single strands of spun wool and let them twist together. This makes the strand stronger.
From this, you can use it as yarn in your weaving project, or you can just keep this and use yarn as well. Thank you so much for learning how to spin wool with us today. If you want to stick around, we're going to dye wool with Kool-Aid next. Our next activity in Kim's classroom today is going to be dyeing wool with Kool-Aid. And today, joining me is Cheyenne. So for this activity, you're going to need wool, vinegar, measuring cup and measuring spoon, a bowl to mix your Kool-Aid in, Kool-Aid, and water. So in a glass bowl, you'll want to combine your package of Kool-Aid, your cup of water, a tablespoon of vinegar, and then you'll want to stir it all together.
First, we're going to add our Kool-Aid. We chose orange. Next, you're going to add a cup of water. Your final ingredient is a tablespoon of vinegar. Pour over your bowl to avoid any accidents. Stir the Kool-Aid until it's completely mixed.
Once the Kool-Aid is completely mixed, you'll be able to take your wool and submerge it in the liquid. The next step is to heat your wool for 2 minutes on high in the microwave. Now we just got our wool back from the microwave. And now Cheyenne, be really careful, it might be really hot. So the next step is to let your wool cool. And the best thing to do is you might be able to do it overnight. Once your wool has cooled, then you'll want to rinse it. The first step to do is to take your wool and place it in cool water.
Wow, looks like ours is coming out clear.
Well, that's great. We won't have to microwave it again. The next step is to dry the wool. Now that we have our colored wool, you can spin it using your hook to create yarn to use in our weaving project, or you can use this wool for our later project of making marbles. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, welcome back, campers. I'm Cheyenne, and this is Ariana, and we're going to be weaving our wool today.
For this activity, you will need a piece of cardboard. You will need either the wool that you spun in the previous activities, or if you have some yarn around the house, you can use that as well. You'll need a marker to mark on the cardboard, a ruler, a shed stick, which was also our spinning hook in the first activity, a pair of scissors, and if you're a smaller camper, have a parent help you with that, and some tape.
The first thing you'll do is grab a piece of cardboard and cut it to a desired length. We chose a 5x5 piece.
So I'll take my cardboard and I'll use my ruler to measure out 5 inches up high, 5 inches, and then I will go from that line and I'll measure another 5 inches.
Once you have your measurements, cut it or have an adult help you cut the cardboard to size.
And then you can start cutting your cardboard.
This is what it should look like when you're complete. The next step is to cut 1/4 of inch slits in one side of the cardboard. These will be about a 1/2 inch apart.
So if you need an idea about what a 1/2 inch is and what a 1/4 of an inch is, you can use your ruler to look on there and you measure it out and mark on there. So you will take your scissors and you will cut those slits just like this, about 1/4 of an inch down, and then a 1/2 inch over, a 1/4 of an inch down. This is what it'll look like when it's finished.
Next, we'll be creating the warp on the loom. Grab either your 2-plied wool or a piece of yarn and tape it to the back on one end of the cardboard.
So I'm taking the cardboard and the yarn. I'm gonna find my end and line it up right on the edge, just like that, and take a piece of handy dandy tape and tape it just like that.
Alrighty, the next step is you're going to take your string and weave your yarn around the first loop down onto the bottom. Make sure you're lining up which one you're going to.
So I have it taped on the back right here, and it'll line up right with this slit here, and then we'll go down to the slit directly below it. How does this look, Cheyenne?
Beautiful, looks super even.
Sweet. And then we will keep going up to the slit that was right next to where we started, and then go to the bottom one just like that.
You'll be making a circular motion with your hands as you're stringing it around.
This is what it should look like when you're done. And once you reach that final slit, you're going to cut off the excess and put a piece of tape down to tape down that end, just like we did in the beginning.
Now's the part where if you spun wool from earlier, you would tie the ends together to create a long piece of spun wool. We're just using yarn today, so we won't need that step. What you'll do to start is you're going to use the spinning hook from the wool spinning kit as your shed stick. A shed stick is a tool used to create a temporary separation between the warp yarns. Feed the shed stick over and under the warp with every second string being raised. Ariana will show you what I mean. With every other one, she's lifting up. Now we've created a pattern with our shed stick that our string or yarn will follow. Now weave the yarn across the loom following the pattern of the shed stick. This yarn is known as the weft. Weaving is a great skill and you can make so many different projects with it. With this one, if you'd like to create a hanging piece of art, you would tie a piece of dowel or wood above your piece, detach the ends, and tie it at the top to make sure that you have a hanging piece. Thanks for helping our campers learn how to weave today, Ariana. Our next project is to make felt marbles. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, campers. For our final activity in Hands-On with Wool, we're going to be making felted wool marbles. For this activity, you're going to need some wool. You can either use natural wool or some of the dyed wool that we made in the previous activity. You'll also need a pair of scissors and then a bowl of warm, soapy water. First, you're going to want to cut out a piece of your wool, either the natural or the dyed, that is 2 inches by 2 inches. From there, you're going to want to pull the fibers apart as if you were making a fluffy cloud or some State Fair cotton candy. And as Rebecca keeps going, notice how she's pulling it apart and putting it back together, just so it doesn't fall everywhere. After you get your wool into a fluffy cloud, you're going to want to roll it in your hands just a little bit as if you were playing with Play-Doh. After that, you're going to want to submerge your wool into the warm, soapy water.
Don't forget to dry off your hands so you don't make a mess. You want to squeeze it out and then go back to rolling your ball.
And for this part, you can try and roll it into your palm to try and get a condensed shape where the ball is hard instead of fluffy, how it was when we started.
This may take a couple minutes.
After you're done, you'll want to let your marbles dry. Once they're dry, you can either play with them or use them in other felt crafts.
Thank you so much for joining us today in Cam's classroom.
We had so much fun working with wool with you today.
We'll see you next time in Cam's classroom.
Don't forget to apply to be a Junior State Fair ambassador. Go Rams!